All right guys, 300 series Landcruiser. Does it tick all the boxes? Well, in this video, we're gonna run through the PDP 300 series and a quick review, and is it better than the 200 series with a mighty V8? Stay tuned, we're gonna go through it. So recently, I went out on a trip with the 300 series. Let me tell you the backstory. I was meant to take the mighty 200 series, but I was still on the hoist and wasn't ready. It was getting close to the departure date, so I was sort of forced to take the 300 series because my alliance still lays with the 200. But I may have changed that opinion. I'll let you know at the end of this video. Let's jump into where I went and what we got up to. Let's go back to the map book. Little bit of history here. This map book I've had since I was 18. So it's 24 years old, 6 Landcruisers in. Yeah, 6. 2 of them are Prados. Is it Prado or Landcruiser? If you think otherwise, comment below. Sure, we can chat about it later. But anyway, let's get the map out. This thing's never got me lost. Trust the old map book. So leaving Perth with the Kimberley camper in tow, we've taken the Great Southern Highway, come all the way through to Kalgoorlie, met up with some friends and family. We've come down to Woolbar. There's a station there, private event. We've also gone to a bonfire night there, had to camp out there, amazing night. We've come back in through Cal, filled up. This is where I realised that I needed some more fuel to carry out the rest of my destination. So jerry cans it was, got some of them from Bunnings, filled up, and we've then come back through some of the back tracks and we've popped up. I wanted to show the kids the Orabanda, the old pub site there. Obviously that's all shut down now. We've continued on from there and we've taken some tracks inland as far as we could sort of go, and we've come into the back of a station there that's been reclaimed now. What is it? Gunagari station. That's a pretty awesome little station there. You do need to book it. We didn't stay the night there. Jump back on the highway, come up through to Menzies, and I had enough fuel to keep on going. We camped the night at Lake Ballard. That was a pretty cool camp out. Got there in the dark once again. Amazing sunset pics. When we've left Lake Ballard, we've come out, filled up at Menzies, come up to Leonora on the highway, dropped in at Gwalia, checked out the mine site, Hoover House there, the mine site, and obviously the ghost town as well, the abandoned site. Come back around cut through the Salt Lakes, back down the backside of Lake Ballard, through all the tracks, and then we've taken a turn to the head west, and then we've done another camp out in here. We've then taken some really back tracks around some of the Salt Lakes. I wasn't sure if I was going to get through. I was determined to trust the 300 series in tow with me and the 2 kids solo. A bit daring, but we did it. And we've come up to Mount Elvi, our pre-remote station right at the top. Once again, it's reclaimed. We left that place late in the afternoon and we've come all the way down to Bullfinch and out Southern Cross late in the evening. Roadside, quick check of the vehicle. Rain came in and got muddy real quick. Lost the Anderson plug on the back, that came out, so I've just taped that up. Still got the trailer lights. And we just stopped for a quick noodle stop on the side of the road. But I got to get into this guy because the knife and forks are in there, so gonna get dirty and then head back to Perth. So a bit of a trip. Let's run through what worked and what didn't work. So what works for me, the 300 series off the showroom floor, there's a noticeable difference from the performance, the drivability and the fuel consumption straight away over the 200 series, the older model that everyone's in love with. I still am as well. Now, when I say performance, it drives like a car, it handles like a car. It's not like you're driving this big, what do you say, Landcruiser. It's not heavy in the steering, it's not hard to park. Not that 200's hard to park, it just doesn't feel like you're driving a big car. So when I say that, it's like, I've had Prados in the past. The Prado is different to drive to the 200 series. It's easy to drive, easy to park. You get in it, feels like a car, it's comfortable. Now, when I talk about fuel consumption, that's probably got something to do with the reduced capacity with the smaller engine, but also they've coupled it with a gearbox that has gears and it uses them. Unlike the 200 series, where we all talk about getting it to go into 6th gear and lock-up kits and transmission temperatures and whatever else with the towing, the 300 series, I believe, is a much better option. Now, when I say fuel capacity, I'm not a fan. I would like it to be a little bit bigger. I think they've fallen short in that department because they had to take jerry cans. Although it is good on fuel, and the variance from off-road to on-road, it's not as big a change. Headwind, I can't honestly say I've had that experience with it because I'm towing a Kimberley camper. It's nice and low and compact. The guys with the bigger vans, yes, it does use more fuel. However, it's nowhere near like a 200 series fuel consumption. Okay, so let's talk about what I do and don't like in the cab. First of all, there's a lot of good stuff and there's a lot of stuff that absolutely shits me. So the first thing is storage in the cockpit. I mean, the 200 series had this center console. This one has got an icebox or a fridge. Yes, I always see lots of guys with a Sahara, I've got a fridge, you don't. You've got a GXL or a VX or whatever it is. However, I'd happily go back to having the storage. I don't need my cucumber sandwiches cold. Another one that really ticks me off is having to turn off the lane assist. Yes, you stay in the lanes, you indicate. However, it's quite annoying and it's actually more disruptive to my driving style. Cruise control, radar cruise control, it's a pretty cool function. However, gearbox in the manual shift mode doesn't engage. Look, generally, overall, it's still a plus. It's adapting to new tech. When you go off-road, you've got to turn off traction control. You've got to go through, turn off some of your sensor settings and stuff. So it's not as, you've got to know more function of the car and what to do with it. You've got to be really familiar with it. Now, bells and whistles, when you go off-road, you need to turn off traction control. You got to do parking sensors if you're going near like scrubs and bushes. The dash is going to beep and carry on like a bit of a Christmas tree at you. Look, get familiar with this thing before you're taken in a position where you need low range lockers and you need all that shit turned off because you don't want to be down on the beach with the tide coming in and you don't know what's going on. Why did I go the GR? Because it come with twin lockers front and rear. I've got the lockers in the 200 because in the end that car, it got fat and heavy, to call it short. This thing, off the showroom floor, I took it into the softest sand, straight off the showroom floor, and I want to see how well it would go. Massive, the performance blew me away. The guy said I was driving like a soul, and I was like, this just wants to go anywhere. I actually can't get it bogged. So a massive tick, lockers, this thing, soft sand, goes anywhere. All right, see this line along here? I really reckon the engineers at Toyota, they played us because we all thought it was going to come with a split tailgate, and it only comes with a one-piece tailgate. They knew we would have been looking for it and didn't come with it, and we didn't know right till the end. I was so hung up on it. Obviously, like I mentioned, I've had Landcruisers. I love to pop this, sit on that, got a bit of a bench. It was a no-brainer. I wanted a split tailgate. I would have paid extra for it. Now, 200 had it, 300 didn't. Like I said, it was almost a deal breaker. Everyone's talking about it. Now with a 300, I'm just used to it. It's just like having a wagon. It lifts up, but the pros is when it lifts up, it's raining. It's got a much more service area. I only run a 180 awning because now I've got shade and protection from the weather. And the other big plus with the 300, what they've fixed, in my opinion so far, with all the testing, is the dust ingression into the boot area. It doesn't happen like it does on the 200. This guy, big tick, 300, I'm okay with not having a split tailgate. While we're on the topic of dust, let's check out the Airbox and see if Toyota have fixed it compared to how the 200 is. So let's check out this air cleaner. Okay, so my review, 300 series Airbox, genuine filter. It's a fail for me. There's signs of dust passing the seal or going through the filter, and there's light residue in the top hat or the clean side of the air housing. So for me, it needs a solution in the Airbox department. So what else is new under the bonnet on the PDP 300 series? Well, it looks pretty stock standard under here. Under these factory covers, we've actually got our dual battery kit. It's all nice and neatly, factory trims, haven't had to cut them up. So dual battery kit, what's it consist of and what have we done? So we've got the Invicta under bonnet lithium battery. We've still maintained and relocated the factory battery. So you don't need to buy two batteries, it's just one battery upgrade. We've rotated at 180 degrees, all on our stainless steel bracketry. It all picks up on the factory bolt holes. And it, like I mentioned to start with, all goes under the factory covers. Key features in the kit is it is a full plug and play DIY. Everything's in the box, like all our other kits if you haven't seen them. Now, what we have in there is a jump start feature. In the event the main battery goes flat, push it and hold the button on the switch on the dash, momentary, jump start the car, away you go. It's all coupled to charge the auxiliary battery that runs all my fridges and auxiliary lighting loads in the rear of the vehicle. by the BCDC up the front here on a bracket we've formed up as well. And we've also got it completely solar ready. So all you have to do is plug in the solar blanket or hardwire your solar panel on the roof. It's all ready to go. Stainless steel bracketry, fuse holders, we've ticked all the boxes. So if you haven't seen it, it's what I run in the car. It's a great bit of gear. Let's have a look further at the front. What you're going to see here is an auxiliary fuse bracket. We've formed it up, no holes drilled, bolts onto the side of the radiator, onto the factory bracket near the ECU. Got extra fuses. They're not in use in my vehicle because I use solid state switching, but more about that in a little bit. Solar ready, plug your blanket in, solar charging, away you go. Let's pick up the factory trim. Obviously got the trim clips off. Normally that's secured down. Once again, stainless steel bracketry, factory bolt holes. We haven't drilled ground, we haven't had to change anything in the front end here. We've got the red arc charging system. It takes care of charging that auxiliary battery and has the solar charger built into it, solid unit, use it in all our other kits. So now we're at the back of the car, what you can see down there is the fuel filtration kit that we've designed and tested for the 300 series because I don't want to run the risk of getting contaminated fuel in my fuel system. And like you're going to see in this trip, I had to pack jerry cans so I had the range of fuel. So I was decanting fuel from a source that can get contamination, and I was fueling up in remote areas. I need to get those guys into the car. Fuel lights on, got 2 Ks to empty. I'm about 15 Ks out of Southern Cross, and I'm hoping that will get me home. 24-hour servos, they're unmanned, unknown what the tank qualities are like. Now, this kit, stainless steel bracketry, once again, it's all made in Australia. Now, key feature I want to say, and there's more about it in a full product feature video, is we've designed it so it's serviceable and it's protecting the fuel filter that we're bolting down there to protect your engine from getting damaged because it is mounted in the wheel arch, which I'm not super happy where Toyota's put it. However, we've got to work with where the factory stuff is mounted, and that's where we've had to mount this guy. The bracket as well has been catered for a Kmart wheel carrier, and obviously aftermarket shocks and resis to be mounted in the vehicle. We've taken aftermarket consideration to other parts that you're going to fit in your car, so it's a kit that's thought out. More about it in another video. Okay, so there's something else Toyota have fallen short of, and when I say that fuel filter is mounted at the rear of the vehicle, it's actually in front of the spare tyre or next to it on the right-hand side of the rear. It's pretty vulnerable if you're going off-road in the elements. And what we've formed up here is a stainless steel bracket. It's a 2-piece design. It mounts with the factory filter, but it actually rests on the chassis. So if you impact it from underneath, it's not relying on the factory mounts. It's just supported from them. All the load is taken on these mounts here that are finger folded out onto the chassis. It's a 2-piece design, 2 M6s. You can take it off, change the factory fuel filter on the roadside. It's all metric bolts. Okay, tow ready. What did I do with the 300 series to get it ready for what I need it to do? I don't tow an off-road van. I don't need a tow pro in it at this stage. However, what I have done is down here, I've formed up a stainless steel bracketry, neatly holds the factory tow bar harness, if that's a 7-pin flat round or a large 12-pin if you've got larger towing needs. Obviously we've got the Anderson plugs, ESP or a solar input. We've got the airbag, so, left and right airbag so you can inflate it. You can put safety Dave on there. It's one neat location. You're not having to chop anything, make anything. It's just a bracket I wanted to have that was easy to use and nice and solid. And obviously you can see here as well, I've got a DPF back Manta 4-inch on it. So pretty much back of the car, tow ready, ready to go off-road. Okay, so decisions I need to make. What am I changing? What am I putting on it? Obviously, the front end of the car still doesn't have a bull bar and driving lights. Yes, I've got light bars on there. I really missed having my driving lights at the front to punch the distance on the road. Obviously recovery points, bull bar. Now to the back of the vehicle, drawers in it. I've got drawers in the 200. Do I want drawers in the 300? It's something I need to go away and have the car organised. So there's lots of options in the back of the car as well that need to be considered. Wheel carriers, fuel tanks, capacity, range, things I've mentioned. The list goes on, the build never ends. And one hot topic is wheel suspension, GVM. What do I need? What am I going to do? As you can see, I've just put a leveling kit in it. Yes, I've done a rim and tyre package upgrade. GVM, no, I haven't done that. 35s, I think I like 35s. And suspension lift, what are the options? What do you think? Comment below. All right guys, that's a bit of a wrap on this video. 300 trip, where I went, what I thought. It's an initial wrap up of the car on a trip with the kids solo and what I thought, pros and cons. I am going to do a more in-depth video review on the 300 series and the products and how they fit in DIY. Any comments, hit them below, we'll come back to you. We want to know your thoughts on a 300. Have you got one? Are you happy with it? Or are you looking to buy one? Until next time, I'll see you out on the tracks. Enjoy, guys.